All right. This is what you guys are going to fill in next. So we're going to deal with mixed numbers right now. So we're going to write 170% as a mixed number in simplest form and as a decimal as well. So we're going to take that 170%. We're going to write it as 170 over 100. Now, our definition of a percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. Okay, if you look back to the last chapter, that's what the definition was. As we go to solve this, there's a couple ways we can go about it. One, we can start out like this. Just below it, you'll see that there's 170 over 100. All we did there is we took that 100 grouping and we moved it over to the left onto the other side. So for 170, we wrote it over here as 1 over 70 and 100. Okay? And now we're going to go ahead and reduce it down. We divide by 10 on top and bottom. We're going to end up getting 1 7/10. Okay? So that's our mixed number as we're going through. That's what we're going to get when we go ahead and simplify that out. Now, if we're going to write it as a decimal, just like we did in the warm-up, we're going to take that percentage, move that decimal point over 2 times, and we'll get 1.7, okay? So finding the decimals of these kind of percents that have hundreds of percents should be relatively easy, okay? There shouldn't be too much going on with that. Later on, we're going to go back to where we're going to have to convert it in from a fraction into a percent. It's going to be a little bit trickier. But for right now, we're just going to focus on this, okay? So I'm going to leave that up there, give you guys some time to fill that in, okay?
All of that? Wait.
So Gustav,
Yeah.
so at the top, it's basically
Yeah.
the normal number, then 100, then you just 1 0 off.
Yes, we're going to go ahead and take that 1. We're going to move it off to the left side.
Wait, so if
Because it's grouped into 100 right now. If we take the 100 grouping and we move it over to the side, we're going to be okay. We're at 70 over 100. We have to keep that 1 on the outside.
Yeah.
Okay?
wait, so if one of us were to say something really stupid, it would be on the recording?
Yeah.
Hi. Are you
So, the other thing you guys can do as well is if you look at it right now, if we were to go ahead and divide into it, we go ahead and we divide out 10 into each of them. So we'd have 10 over 17. Okay, we divide it out. We're going to reduce that down further. If we took 10 and divided it into 17, we'd end up getting it going 1 time and we have 7 there. Okay. So I'll show you what that looks like if you were to reduce it straight down as 170 over 100, okay? So if we take it, and if you guys remember back from last year when you did a little bit of this, which we'll see what you remember. So if we have 170 over 100, we're going to start out by dividing by 10, okay? So if we divide the top and bottom by 10, we get 10 and 17. We can reduce that down a little bit more. What we're going to do is we're going to divide 10 into 17. So if we go and do long division here, 10 goes into 17 how many times?
1.
1 time.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that down here. I'm left with 7. Now we don't want to get a decimal right now. We just want to get it as a fraction. So we're going to go 1, and we added 7 tenths. We're going to take this number down here. We're going to put it as a numerator. We're going to take the number that we were dividing by down here and put it as a numerator, as a denominator. Okay, so we end up getting the same problem as that. Okay. He's talking about when he's going to do the long division. It's the same thing I just did over there on the board. You're going to take the denominator down here where the 5 is. You're going to divide it into the 7. When we go ahead and do that, it goes in 1 time, and I'm left with a 2. So I'll take that 1, I write it here. I take that 2, I put it on top, and I do it over 5. Okay. A lot of blank faces.
I'm shaking my head, yes.
4 plus 3. It's not going to work that way for what we're doing.
4 plus 3 plus 7.
Yes, but you got to realize we're going to reduce it down as far as we can. We want to write it as a mixed number. Okay. So if we were to do kind of what you're trying to say, it's not going to work out. Okay. If we keep reducing it down to the lowest term we got there, then we go ahead and divide into it, we're going to get that mixed number that we're looking for. Okay. And when we go back to try and calculate into a percent, we need that mixed number. Right? We're not there yet, but we're going to get there soon. We'll give you guys some time to kind of write that one in, okay? Here we go. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and write each percent as a mixed number or a fraction, okay? Some of them you will not have to do as a mixed number, all right? So take the notes we just did, try and apply that to this, okay? Give you guys 1 hour, absolutely not.
Yes, 1 hour.
Give you guys about 8, I'll give you guys 8 minutes, okay?
You spelled it out a few minutes ago.
Okay, so we have 0.25%. Percent. You look on the board up here, it says percent. So our first step is we got to turn this into a decimal, okay? Because if we stack it on top of the 100 right now, it's not going to work for our problem. Let's turn it into a decimal. Let's go here, 1, 2. Okay. I have 0. I have 0.0025. Okay. Now a decimal. Now I'm going to write it as a fraction. Okay. So for me to write it as a fraction, I got to look at what place value this 5 is in.
10,000.
It's in the 10,000.
Yeah.
So the way I go to rewrite it, I'm going to write 25 over 10,000.
Oh.
And now I can reduce it down.
Oh my God.
Okay. So when you divide that out, because 10 is a 25 and 10,000 all share 25. We're going to divide by 25 by top and bottom. What do we end up getting after that? We know 25 divided by 25 is going to be 1. What's 25 into 10,000?
I don't know, 58.
Love it.
Whoa. How many ones? You have to give us solve it. Who's the calculator? You just want one.
Use long division. Get it
They
there.
go, you just want.
If I take 25, I write 10,000. 10, 1, 2, 3, 4.
400.
There you go, buddy.
What do you
Long
know?
division works. So
No, but
for the first one, you should get 1 over 400.
All need
Okay, so we got our fraction.
1.
1 over 400. And I'll go ahead and it's already set up here for this as well.
What is that?
So if I divide it out, where is this? Where's my cursor? So as a decimal, we wrote as a decimal first. We found that one. Okay, so all part of it. Now we're going to rewrite it just like we did over there. 25 over 10,000. Then we have 1 over 400. So now, if we were to write 300% as a decimal, what would it look like? 300% as a decimal.
Oh. Oh. Yeah. Oh, no, 300.
Yeah, 3.00. So 3.0. That's it. Or just 3. Okay, so now we're dealing with the 100%. Okay, so we're going to apply the same rule we did earlier. We're going to write it over 100. So we're going to write 300 over 100. Now, if we simplify them out, calm down.
That's 300. How is it still at 300?
What do you mean? 3.0.
It's not.
We move the decimal. Remember, if we're moving that decimal over 2 spaces, we just get a 3. Now, if you write it as a fraction, we're going to write it as 300 over 100. Okay? When we reduce that out, we get 3 over 1. So our answer is 3. It's the simplest form. Okay? Okay. Now, for 530%, if we turn it into a decimal, what do we get?
5.3.
There you go. We get 5.3.
Yeah.
So we know that one right off the bat. Okay.
Why does it matter?
Why does it matter?
Why
it matters because
Because
smart.
there's multiple ways to find it. I'm trying to show you different ways to get there. Okay, so we have 5.3 is 530%. Now, let's write it as a fraction. We have 530 over 100. So there's a little trick we can do. Okay? There's a trick we can do. When we're dealing with percents kind of like this, not like that. But if they have another number here, we can do this real easy. What we'll do, let's rewrite it over here real fast. So we have 530 over 100. Now we can go ahead and divide it out and just simplify it down, or we could recognize that that 5 is in the hundreds place. Okay?
No, it's in the 10th place. Come on now.
This is the hundreds place.
So that's a-
We have it as a fraction over here.
Wait.
All we're gonna do, because we know it's 100, okay? We're gonna take that 5, we're gonna put the 5 right here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do my fraction, okay? I've used the 5, that's gone now. Now I'm left with 30 over 100. So I'm gonna reduce that down, I'm gonna divide by 10. And I'm going to get 3 over 10. I'm gonna bring that over here, 3 over 10, okay? So I have 5 and 3/10. If I wanted to get back to that percentage, this is what we're doing next. All I have to do is times the 10s by the 5, add 3. 5 times 10 is 30. Sorry, it's 50, plus 3 is 53
Yeah.
over 10. Now I have to get back to my 100%, so I'm going to times by 10 by 10, and I get 530 over 100. I'm back to where I was.
What?
What? Yeah, I know, it's magic.
Amazing.
We're doing that one next, okay?
I know, right? Like, the Aquaman stuff.
So we have 5 and 3/10, okay? Does anybody else need more time to write this in? We okay?
My brain hurts.
I know.
That part in.
There's a lot.
Let me make that part.
Go ahead and write that part in that's on the board.